Do you ever wonder how great leaders in the community make things happen? When they encounter new, unexpected challenges like a pandemic, how do they continue to successfully make an impact? Welcome to That Sounds Terrific, the podcast that connects you with these amazing people. Get insights on what they do to meet their goals, find out how you can help them in their mission, and learn their methods so you can be more successful at what you do. Welcome to That Sounds Terrific with host Nick Koziel.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of That Sounds Terrific. I am your host, Nick Koziel, and joining me today is the terrific Patsy Roach, Pink Lady. So thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and we've talked a couple times now, I think, and you do something kind of unique that we haven't really talked about on the show at all. So, why don't I just have you kind of tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then we can kind of get into what you do.
Sure. Well, I'm 61 years old and I have an adult daughter. I have a full-time job during the week as a secretary. And I was, in 2016, I was curious about online dating. Not interested myself because I'm a happily divorced lady. But I started out at CatholicMatch.com and nothing really happened there. And then my one friend said, oh, try Match.com. And so the very first guy that contacted me turned out to be, it was a scammer, but I didn't know anything about it. He said he was in the Army on a peacekeeping mission.
Mhm.
And so a gal that I work with that I'm really good friends with, I was telling her about it, showed her his picture. She goes, is he in the Army? And I go, yeah. And she goes, oh, he's a scammer. I'm like, what are you talking about? So she filled me in on all this. I had no clue. And then that night I went home, Googled his picture. And it was like, it said there was somebody had something out there that said he's a scammer.
Mhm.
And so before all that, I mean, we exchanged a couple emails. It was a lot of love bombing, which I thought was weird. You don't even know me. One of the things that was alarming just for me was he's like, well, I'll move anywhere I find the woman of my dreams.
Mhm.
My first thought was, oh God, I don't want you to move here. If you don't have any friends, you'll smother me. So, So anyway, I ended up sending in an email after I found all this out. So don't contact me. You're a scammer, blah, blah, blah. And I blocked him.
Mhm.
But then as I moved along from there to our time and my favorite, Plenty of Fish, or I call it Plenty of Fakes, that's where it really started to get tons and tons of scammers. And then Twitter and Instagram. And I would tell my hairdresser these crazy stories and the conversations. And I said, maybe I should start a blog about this. I don't think anybody would believe it. So I started doing screenshots of the conversations so people can see exactly what they type. And the thing about all of it is, it's how quickly they fall in love with you. And then eventually, oh, I need a gift card. That's a joke
Yeah.
amongst us on my TikTok lives. It's like, hey, do you need a gift card? Yeah, I do. It's just a big joke. But then in 2020, I don't know what happened, because they would try to call me on the apps and I never answered. I was too scared. I don't know what happened in 2020, but I decided to start talking. So I picked up, never showed myself. If I did show myself, I put on my Jason hockey mask.
Mhm.
But I started recording all these, and they're all on my YouTube channel. Most are on my TikTok as well. And just to hear their voices, how they sound, and again, how quickly, oh, you're so beautiful, the love bombing, which
Yeah.
makes me want a gay. And I mean, it's just crazy. So then I decided in 2021, I was being interviewed by a lady in St. Louis at a local TV station. And I had mentioned about, I want to start a podcast because that was the big thing was big. And, oh,
Yeah.
you've got to. And she gave me some great advice. And so I started the podcast. I don't have a lot of episodes because my topic is so specific.
Yeah.
But I've been doing the podcast for 3 years. And then 3 years ago, we were moving into this house and we were getting DirecTV satellite installed. And I have magnets on my car that advertise my blog, podcast, and everything. And so I was telling him all about it. And he's like, well, have you ever been on, you should go on TikTok. Oh, I don't know. I've never been on, I don't know. What's TikTok? So I signed up with an account. I enjoy watching other creators do fun stuff. And I posted short videos and blah, blah, blah. And then a year and a half ago, I saw a lady posting her screenshots of conversations. And I'm like, gosh, I have all these audio conversations. I ought to start posting them because in the audio conversations, you just see me laughing and making faces and all kinds of stuff. But you can hear the stuff that they say. Well, my TikTok blew up. I went from about 1,500 followers to 29,000 followers. Um, and now I started a couple months ago. I do lives almost every night for at least 2 hours during the week. On the weekends, I'll do them longer because I have to get up the next day.
Mhm.
But I bring people in the boxes. They sometimes they'll tell me what to say.
Mhm.
It's just I'm a big humor fan. I always believe laughter's the best medicine. And the way I do it, because I partner with several other creators on there who are doing education as well. Mine is more of a humor where you hear what these boneheads sound like. And I come up with far-fetched stories because I play along with them.
Mhm.
And I mean, I'm a doctor, I'm a urologist, I do vasectomies, I was a proctologist for a while, I do butts. Last night I told a guy, well, I work in the morgue, I do autopsies. I do it in a terrible New York accent. I do autopsies, and afterwards, I'm hungry. Well, I got that from one of my dear friends who is a little younger than me, and she went to paramedic school. And
Mhm.
she would always joke, she goes, yeah, I got to watch an autopsy today. And those make me hungry. So I used something she said and I incorporated
Yeah.
it. I mean, I say the most crazy and bizarre things.
Mhm.
And watching the comments in my TikTok live is hilarious because everybody's just like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that. And I can get away with it, I will.
Mhm.
So this has kind of started out as a hobby, that's more of a passion project because there's just so many people, mainly ladies, getting scammed out there out of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And if I can say this is what they sound like, make you laugh at the same time, then I think I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting because, like, I've seen, and I know, I'm sure my listeners have seen even things like yours, but like the main thing I've seen, is like, the person that kind of does the hacking, right? And he kind of goes in and he kind of figures out where the caller's coming from, and he goes, "Oh, hi, Emil, I can see you right now," and is like in the video camera and all that, which is, super high tech. But what I thought was super interesting about what you're doing is it kind of reminded me of, like, some of the series that you've seen on TV where, you're being catfished, right? And you're kind of exposing that in a totally unique and different way. And like you said, I think it's important that, well, first of all, maybe you can even recognize the voice of someone that's trying to talk to you, but also recognize the signs that maybe this, you know, it's very easy for someone on the outside who isn't lonely, who isn't looking for someone to say, "Well, you wait a second, you can't fall for this." It's a totally different thing when you're in the moment, for whatever reason you're seeking someone to talk to and someone's giving you attention. And maybe it's moving really fast, but you're just vulnerable. So people like you and like to use humor. I'm an
And I
improver. I love it. The yes and you know, it just sounds
I get
perfect.
wild. The other week, it was the week before last. Now, first off, I am Catholic, not the best Catholic, but I'm Catholic.
Mhm.
I don't play with the devil and stuff. But the one night I'm in the middle of talking to this guy. I don't normally talk to a guy more than once, but this one went on for 3 nights and this was the third night. So all of a sudden I changed my voice to I'll try to do it, but it's hard. I am the evil one. I want your soul. And then
Mhm.
I also stream on YouTube, and my dear friend Chaos is in there. Say this, say that. I'm saying all this crazy stuff. The scammers getting scared because they don't like that kind of stuff. But when I put that video out on TikTok and YouTube, I said, look, first off, this is a skit and this is all in fun. I would never, you know, do something like that. But this was all in fun, and it was just they do, and then I bring the other girls in on the that are in boxes on TikTok, and and then my favorite person who has become a real close friend is Antonio, Tony Big Boss.
Mhm.
He is referred to as my Uncle Tony, my late husband, my accountant, my lawyer. He has voices like he has a very smooth voice, but he's very good at really giving hell to these scammers, and
Mhm.
it will scare you. And I get about somebody really likes me, but he got in on the thing a couple days ago where somebody put down the bone collector, and he's doing this voice on the bone collector, and we get wild on there.
Mhm.
We keep it pretty clean, you know. I have been in TikTok live, a couple times from letting my mouth go too far,
Mhm.
but it's very much a group effort, and everybody gets involved. And I, like I said, humor is just so good and important. And whenever I had a teacher in school who had a good sense of humor, I felt like I learned from her.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's
And I get
important.
to be creative. I get to be
Yeah.
really creative.
Mhm. Well, that was kinda like how this show started, was so I could go back to being creative, you know? So how do you identify them as a scammer? Like, it sounds like it's pretty simple and pretty easy for you to, but, like, I guess what are some of the things that you look for, so you're not maybe messing with someone who is truly,
Yeah.
trying to
Well, I
find.
don't go by my name. I go by Suzanne Sugarbaker. And if you were a fan of the show Designing Women, that was
Mhm.
Delta Burke's character. And I absolutely loved her character. So I go by that. I wear a blonde wig because I will FaceTime with them, but I wear a blonde. I got a new wig. So I kept telling
Mhm.
everybody, got a new hairdo. Um, but they all follow me on Instagram. They find me, and then the conversation starts.
Mhm.
And I mean, the first thing is their introduction. It's like, oh, hello, beautiful, hello, pretty, oh, my queen. Very much terms of romantic endearments,
Mhm.
And then as the conversation goes, it's, oh, you're so beautiful. I can't believe you're not married. Why haven't all the guys in St. Louis, which is where I'm from,
Mhm.
taken you and kept you? And I mean, just all this crazy stuff.
Mhm.
And so I mean, those are a couple of the signs. As soon as they start with the love bombing, it's going to lead up to them saying, "Oh, honey, I need your help. Can I have a gift card?"
Yeah.
Gift cards is a very big thing. And the reason they like gift cards is so a $500 gift card is worth 692,000 Naira, which is their money. Our money is worth a whole lot more over there.
Mhm.
And so if they just ask for a $500 gift card, they go to someplace online and can cash it in, and they're getting 692,000 of their money.
Right.
Now, some will give me bank account numbers because I play along. And when I get bank account numbers, I report it to the bank. Like if it's a local bank, like a
Mhm.
chain, I have a form letter and I give a screenshot of the bank and I mail them a letter. And then I actually went to my bank a couple months. I go there a lot, but I asked the one guy, he knows what I do. What happens when I report that kind of stuff? He goes, he doesn't really know. He goes, it goes to the fraud department. And a lot of times he goes, they probably keep an eye on the account or they close the account down.
Mhm.
He had a guy come in recently with an older man with a check for $10,000 payable to him.
Mhm.
And all the bank tellers know what to look for and ask questions. So he asked him, he said, well, who's this check from? Oh, it's from my girlfriend. She lives in England. She's moving over here. So he started asking all these different questions. And that's when the bank teller goes, look, I'm sorry, but this is a scam. He said
Mhm.
the guy looked devastated. He was just didn't
Yeah.
know about it. So, he took the check and left. So he kept him from getting in trouble, because the check would obviously bounce and
Right.
get in trouble for a $10,000 check. So as I pick up new things here and there, especially where I work, we have a cybersecurity department, and they always send out great emails about different stuff. And I'll post that on my blog. I don't do as much blogging as I do videos now, but I still put stuff out there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's interesting because like I was in the bank the other day myself, and there was, a woman talking to someone, and definitely had just found out that she was being scammed, right? So something very similar. So it's kind of interesting you were just talking about that check. It was a little bit different, but basically, you know, got information coaxed out of her by a call, right? And we've all heard those things too, like where you're, how you're, oh, it's your great nephew, or it's, oh, I've come into money, all you need to do is send me $25 and then I'll give you, Yeah,
Mhm.
10,000 of it. Or you need to collect this money and just give me your bank account so we can, yeah. It's
I get emails like that. They automatically go in my junk folder.
mhm.
But that's something you got to watch out for. We talked about that on my lives too. I said you got to look at the extension on the emails. If Best Buy is sending you an email, it's not going to say bestbuy@gmail.com. It's
Right.
going to say bestbuy.com and all kinds of little stuff like that. So I always tell everybody,
Yeah.
look at the extensions on the emails. And
Yeah.
if you're not sure, don't open it and delete it, you know.
Don't click it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just that's so funny. You just reminded me. Like Best Buy. I got one, it wasn't Best Buy, but it was like Best Buy abcx.com. I'm like seriously, can't even just do
Yes.
Best Buy dash, mail.com or something like something totally different. Yeah,
Yeah.
not
I
even
get a lot
close.
of Amazon ones because I order
Yeah,
from Amazon a lot.
yeah,
But I know they're not Amazon
yeah,
because a lot of, like they have to, another thing people should know, like if somebody says, oh, your PayPal account, your Amazon account's messed up, click here. Don't click here. Leave the app and actually log on to the
yeah,
account on your
yeah,
phone or your computer. They will tell you, no, it's not,
yeah.
it's wrong.
Yeah, the same thing with like the shipping one, like, oh, your package is stuck at receiving. Like what package?
Yeah.
It doesn't say
Yeah.
at all what it is, what it's from, and then it's from
Yeah.
like some random number or email, like, at mail.com. Ed, this is Eduardo from shipping. Your package is stuck at receiving.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. But uh, okay, so have you ever been kind of like outed in a way? Like has anyone like kind of caught on like immediately or is this like do they just take it hook, line, and sinker every time?
It depends. Now, I'll get guys, I'll send them something like I try to move it. Normally, I always tell everybody, don't do this, but I can't because I'm a professional. But like when a guy tells you, like you meet a guy on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, any main platform, and they want to move you off there to like Google Chat, Telegram, WhatsApp,
Hmm.
Zanji. Now I do use Zanji, and the only reason I move them over there because I have a thing all typed up. Hey, meet me over on Zanji, with
Yeah.
my number, is because I get in trouble on Instagram messaging if my mouth goes away, it goes crazy.
Hmm.
Where on Zanji I can say anything, but also the nice thing about Zanji is so when I'm done with a guy, I block them. I can clear the conversation on both sides. So, like, if I'm done with the guy, when I hit clear all, it'll do it on both sides and he won't, it ends up in the abyss,
Yeah.
basically. But I always tell everybody, don't, that's one of your big red flags and they want to move off the platform.
Hmm.
This is what'll happen. Don't do that. Now, I had a guy the other week on Plenty of Fish because I have a account there at Suzanne. And
Hmm.
I had a guy contact me. He said he was from St. Louis. We ask all the St. Louis questions. Oh, what high school did you go to? Blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
And we only chatted a couple times. I said, well, look, let's just meet this weekend. Where do you live? We'll meet somewhere. Oh, that sounds good. I'll have to let you know. And then finally it got to, well, let's move over on Telegram. I
Yeah.
knew he was a scammer. And I came back and said, no, you're a scammer. I knew you were. And as soon as you said Telegram, I
Yeah.
came back, he had already blocked me.
Yeah.
So, but no, sometimes I'll just come out and say, well, you're a scammer,
Hmm.
and they're like, no, I'm not. I have an hour and a half or an hour and 15-minute video I just put on YouTube yesterday. It was me and a fake Keanu Reeves. And this went on for an hour. And I pulled up his profile, Keanu's. I'm asking him all these questions we can't answer. I mean, he was, I think, up until the very end he kept saying he was Keanu Reeves. It's hysterical, but it is an hour and 15 minutes. And I had my ladies in the boxes talking.
Oh,
And you get fake celebrities. I'm a big Chris Evans fan. I get lots of fake Chris Evans and I have fun with them.
you would think
But
that you'd, yeah,
Keanu is, yeah, I know Keanu's a big one. And I
yeah,
just kind of gave up talking to them. But this one, I guess, saw my Zanji on Instagram and came over. But I mean, this went on for 18 minutes of just us telling him he's not Keanu. And there's some of them are very adamant. I am. No, you're not. No, you're not. And
yeah,
I'm just like, dude, you're not. Sometimes as I'm talking to a guy, I get them to break not that they hurt. I get them to admit, well, yeah, I'm a scammer. And then they give you a sad story. You don't know whether to believe it or not, but it's like, well,
Yeah.
my mother's sick and I need money and blah, blah, blah. And after a while, after I'll talk to them, I'll be nice. And then they'll say, well, can we still be friends? No, because in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure I'm right, what'll happen is, okay, I'll keep talking to him. And he's still going to try to break me so that I will send him money and I will feel sorry enough for him.
Yeah.
So, I always tell everybody when they say they still want to be your friend, no, block them and move on,
Yeah. They it's interesting, like you were talking about the celebrities, like I could almost see someone like a B actor or like an actor who hasn't made it yet, like, oh, I'm an actor, I've been in this and this. That is believable, but I'm Brad Pitt. Oh, okay. Because he's gonna be on whatever, trying to reach out and like find love.
Well, my very first Chris Pratt, when I was starting all this, asked for a $40 gift card from
Yeah.
Apple Card. And my response back was, dude, you're a guardian of the galaxy. What are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah. We had an interesting thing happen one time in where I used to work. We had someone come through. It was Dan Aykroyd has I think it's Crystal Vodka or something he owns. And he would stop on his way back to Canada at places that sold his liquor. And so a friend of mine noticed that he was sitting at the bar drinking his vodka, and he's like, I'm gonna go offer to buy, Dan Aykroyd a drink or whatever. And he goes up to Dan Aykroyd and he's like, man, I loved you in Ghostbusters, loved you in everything. He's like, I just want to buy you a drink. And it's like, why are you buying me a drink? Here, I'm gonna buy everybody around the crystal, my vodka or whatever. And it's like that is what you would expect from a celebrity of that caliber, right? Not like I need
Yes.
$20 gift card,
Apple Card, yeah.
I haven't done a movie in a little while. I need some money. I have a severe gambling problem. But yeah.
I mean,
So
I did have one guy the other week. And like I said, he eventually admitted, and he video chatted with me. I put on the wig, of course, and he seemed very sincere. And there was a part of me, I did feel sorry for him because I'm looking in his eyes in the video, and yeah, I still ain't gonna send him money, But I'm not heartless. But after talking to some of like this particular guy, I did feel bad for him. But it's like we're not gonna help you. It's not that we're,
yeah.
you're a scammer. Again, I don't know. I perform. I think you're performing. But I did feel, as I talked on my live to everybody, I said, I did feel a little sympathy for him.
Yeah.
Not enough to send him anything, but
yeah, I mean, and you think about like every person that like he's probably been successful with, like,
yeah.
It's only fair that he gets, caught,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
don't feel bad to send him something, he's already getting
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. But
But
my gals in the boxes there, the Pink Lady Council of Ladies, I think, or the Pink Lady Council of Ladies, something like that. And or when we're witches, they're my coven.
yeah,
But they are hard on these guys. I mean, watch out because they are you're a scammer, and I mean they can be vicious, not in a bad way, but in a
Yeah.
funny way, where and then the guy's like, well, who are those? I go, those are my ladies, and it gets crazy on there sometimes, but it's
My backup.
education, but it's fun. And I will laugh until I bust a gut. I mean, there are times I stay in character most of the time, but there's a couple times I come very close and I back up my chair and cover my face, and just because I don't want to laugh in this, because I'll go back and watch my videos and they make me laugh. I was watching one I hadn't seen in a while a couple of weeks ago. I was in the office and I had my headphones on. I just bust out laughing real loud. And I'm like, oh, everybody, not that the office is big, it's a very small office, but it's like, oh my God, I got to remember there's people here. Don't do that,
Yeah, I mean, I don't like watching myself. So once I'm done and I got the editing, that's hard enough for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I try,
Yeah.
but if I was more funny in these shows, then maybe I would go back and want to laugh at myself a little more. But at least
Well, that's what I
learn
tell
again from my
everybody.
guests, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, that's what I tell everybody. First off, I am the world's biggest goofball. I can laugh at myself, and I do. And, you know, I like to share that vibe with everybody, you know.
Right. Right. So what's next? I mean, like, you've got a good groove. You're on TikTok. You've got a good following, and like, what are you trying? Like, what do you think is the next step? Is there something else on the horizon that you're trying
Well,
to
I have a
accomplish?
book, um, that my daughter helped me with. I think it was a year and a half ago. Since I started this, I kind of wanted to write a book, but I didn't know what direction to go in. And one of my followers, her name is Randy, she's like, you should collect stories from ladies who have been scammed.
Hmm.
And it's all anonymous, you know. So I got a bunch of stories, but some of my daughter is a very good editor. She's 24. And so I got all the stories, wrote my parts that I want to put in of the beginning and the end. She went through and edited it, and it was last month, early last month, on a Saturday. We worked on it all day.
Hmm.
And we just have a couple things we got to finish. We're doing self-publishing through Amazon.
Hmm.
My goal was to get it out by Labor Day, and that didn't happen. So we're going to shoot for hopefully by the end of the month. But we've got 8 good stories in there. At the beginning, I talk about how I got started in this,
Hmm.
and it's humorous. And then the back part is basically follow these people on TikTok because they're doing what I'm doing, and
Hmm.
other agencies like the FBI and the Federal Trade Commission and Advocating for You, which is a fantastic organization that helps educate about online romance scammers.
Hmm.
And then that's the next goal. Then the one I've been working on, and I just sent a package about a month ago. I want to try to get on the Drew Barrymore show
Hmm.
to talk about it. So the lady, I have 2 shirts, and I have a lady who makes them and sells them, and she has a website. She does somebody else's shirts on TikTok, and that's how I found her.
Hmm.
So I told her, look, this is the shirt I want. This is the size, and can you get it to me as soon as possible? Because I'm gonna mail it to Drew Barrymore. So I wrote a letter. I also did a video, an intro. I put in 2 at that time of my best, funniest videos on a CD. And then I sent her some of the swag. I make a lot of my own stuff. I have like car signs, koozies, calendars, and stuff like that. And then when the shirt came, I sent it all prior email so I could make sure it got delivered.
Hmm.
So, and I also have gone on her website. Other friends of mine have gone on her website and filled out some, better have her on your show. So I think that would be a great way to reach others. You know, there's
Yeah.
a lot of other shows I'll work on, but right now I'm working on Drew.
Hmm.
Um, so, but no, I mean, I plan to keep doing this. Somebody had suggested, well, what's your next book going to be? I don't know. And somebody said, you want to put one together with all the sweet talk, you know, that they say. And I'm like, it's not a bad idea. I got a lot, you know. I'll have to think about that. But the
What
other lady's
what
story,
not to
oh,
say on
yeah,
what
yeah.
not to say on your yeah,
Yeah.
on
But the
Matchmaker.
other ladies who submitted their stories, I'm going to end up putting them on my blog.
Hmm.
Some of them, that wasn't enough detail, and there on some of them who were out of the United States, there was a little bit of an English barrier.
Hmm.
So we just picked out the 8 best ones. It's not a thick book. I think it's like 50 pages. But it'll be true stories, and we picked out the ones where they gave a lot more detail.
Yeah.
And the other ones I will eventually put out on my blog one at a time and say, hey, this is this person's story. But I
Hmm.
want the book to come out first before I do that.
Yeah, that'd be a great way to lead up to it.
Yeah,
So yeah, you gotta keep us updated. You gotta let us know if you do make it to Drew. Be sure to shoot it out to
for
us because we'd love
sure.
to push it out a
Everybody
little
will
bit
know.
more. And I guess like I'll urge my fans and our listeners to kind of check out the Pink Lady. Go to your website. We'll have it in the show notes. But also like, I mean, can you give, maybe a couple tips just to the audience of like what to look out for, just in case they haven't seen your show yet and maybe they're
Yeah,
already on the dating apps, and like what are 1 or 2 things that they could just that are immediate red flags that.
yeah. Well, I always say, like, if a dating app and you're looking for somebody, make sure they're in your area. If this
Mm.
guy says, "Well, my name's Joe and I live halfway across the country, but I'm in another country now," that's your first red flag.
Mhm.
Again, if you're also meeting somebody in St. Louis, which is what my friend's daughter did during COVID, she ended up meeting her. They got married in January.
Mhm.
They met on Bumble, and they did video chats right away, and it was during COVID, and then eventually was able to meet in person. So I suggest if you do meet some dude, do video chats right away.
Yeah.
So that you can see they're a real person, you can see, you know, get to know each other that way.
Hmm.
But I mean, that's the big one. The other one is, you know, right away, if it's on another social media platform, if they start, hi sweetie, hi lovely, blah blah blah, red flag, you know.
Hmm.
And the message, love bombing, you're so beautiful, blah blah blah, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's another one. Those are the big ones, because come after that, they're going to tell you, "Oh, I love you," right away. You
Yeah.
know, or pretty close. They're going to say all the things that you want to hear that you probably don't hear that often.
Hmm.
I'm a prime example because I'm a heavy set woman, but I like myself and I'm fine. But they will come after thinking, "Oh, well, she's probably lonely because she's fat," you know, or what, stuff like that. They also go after a lot of older women who are
Hmm.
retired, widowed. Those are big ones. They
Right.
really go after the senior ladies.
Yeah.
So any of those things, those are the big ones that you want to look for, because those are your big, right in front of your face, red flags.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the whole dating scene nowadays, it makes me super glad that I'm happily married. Because
I've been
I would
happily divorced since 2005. I had a boyfriend for 4 years after that. But like right now, I don't have time. I can't
yeah,
imagine dating a guy. Oh, excuse me, I got to go talk to these online men now.
right?
You know, this is my husband doing all
Yeah.
this, or my
Yeah.
boyfriend. You know.
Well, Patsy, we appreciate having you on the show, and you're sharing all these tips and talking about what you do. And it really is a terrific way to get at people and get back at people in a funny way that really are hurting other people.
Yeah,
And so also appreciate that you are sending things out when you can to, like, banks and law enforcement, and let them know what's
yeah.
going down to help maybe prevent some of these things from happening. So but thanks so much for being on the show. You've been a terrific guest.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us in another episode of That Sounds Terrific. Don't forget to check out the show notes and our website at thatsoundsterrific.com to find the contact information and the best ways to volunteer with the organizations that we feature. If you know someone that is doing terrific things and think they should be featured in a future episode, be sure to email us their name, contact info, and short description of what they're doing at thatsoundsterrific@gmail.com. If you like our show, give us a 5-star rating and give us some social media love by liking our Facebook page, That Sounds Terrific. Follow us on Twitter at Sounds Terrific 2 and Instagram at Sounds Terrific. We love hearing your feedback on how to make our show sound even more terrific. Till next time.